Part 74. Sky Coffin. Author, Qing Nian Wanbao. Chapter 731. The cry was mixed with the howling wind, and then the will-o'-the-wisp emitting green light suddenly went out. Suddenly, I felt something moving around me. I looked stern and had no intention of taking action. At this moment, the light of a flashlight suddenly appeared in the darkness. The cool light illuminates the surrounding environment. I don't know when it started, but the surroundings were filled with figures. By the light of the flashlight, I could clearly see the appearance of those figures. The figure was wearing a red robe and had a cow's nose. One foot was on the ground with a shoe on, one foot was hanging on the waist, and an iron fan was inserted in the waist. This is wasted. Legend has it that Suhua is an evil spirit that brings disaster to people. According to legend, in the Tang dynasty, Emperor Xianzong once saw an imp stealing his jade flute and Yang Guifei's sachet. The imp called himself Suhua. He likes to steal other people's property and also steal other people's happiness. Xianzong was furious, summoned Zhong Kui, tore Suhua in half and ate it. Be careful when dealing with such a vicious ghost, because you don't know when he will steal your soul. Wu Chenzi and others behind him obviously recognized Suhua. They stared at the waste around them with serious expressions. There are a lot of wastes, almost covering the entire floor. "Senior, what should we do now?" Wu Chenzi asked me. I snorted in my heart. It seemed that this Wu Chenzi was planning to let me deal with these wastes. I naturally ignored them. Now I am trying to find a way to ensure my own strength and get rid of these guys before reaching the 9th floor. It's just a few small wastes. You can't even deal with them, right? I spoke up. Wu Chenzi looked troubled and said, "Senior, some of us are not good at learning and we still need your help." I turned around and snorted coldly, "Not good at studying? Then prepare to die here." After that, I walked towards the stairs leading to the 2nd floor. Wu Chenzi's expression froze. He didn't expect me to say such a thing. I didn't want to continue talking to him, so I walked towards the 2nd floor. I know very well what kind of strength Wu Chenzi is. How could he not be able to deal with a small waste? When I took a step forward, the waste around me suddenly burst out and launched a fierce attack on us. I stretched out my hand and pinched Leiju. What I pinched here was an ordinary palm thunder. Because at this juncture, if I use the 9 layers thunder art, I will definitely be discovered by Wu Chenzi. Su Tianxian and I are the only ones in this world who can use the 9 layers thunder art. Powerful lightning burst out from the palm of my hand, and I attacked the one closest to me. With a bang, thunder and lightning exploded, and the person in front of him was knocked out of his mind by the thunder in his palm. This wasted amount is only large, and the strength is not very strong. At this moment, someone's scream suddenly sounded from behind. I turned around suddenly and saw a man lying on the ground clutching his chest. I recognized his symptoms at a glance. A ray of his soul was stolen by Suhua. Sudden. I felt a cold hand touch my back. With a serious look on my face, I raised the palm thunder in my hand and blasted it. However, the moment I turned back, a black shadow flashed in front of my eyes at an extremely fast speed. Escaped. One wave after another, countless wastes rushed out of the darkness, stretched out their ghost hands and touched me. I could only raise my right hand and use palm thunder to repel it. Sky Coffin. Author, Qing Nian Wanbao. Chapter 732. But these wastes were consumed in extremely large quantities and at an extremely fast speed. They were surrounding me, constantly looking for opportunities to steal my soul. Because of the large amount of waste, Wu Chenzi will definitely recognize my identity if the 9-eyed heaven realm comes. Wait, it seems that I have never used Karma Fire and Pure Lotus Mark in front of Wu Chenzi. I looked happy, just when I was about to use the fire of karma to burn all these wastes. A pale ghost hand grabbed my chest. Just when the ghost hand was about to touch my body, a ray of lavender light burst out from my body. Then, I felt a strong force moving inside my body. This is Zyway True Essence Body Protector. In a sense, the crepe myrtle True Energy Body Protection and the Golden Light Spell are exactly the same, both can achieve the role of body protection. With Zyway Zhenyuan protecting their bodies, those Suhua were so frightened that they backed away, and finally focused all their attention on Wuchenzi and the others. Wuchenzi was shocked when he saw the lavender light on my body. This is Zyway True Essence Body Protector. How is this possible? There are very few people with the destiny of Zyway, let alone the true energy of Zyway. The descendants of Yungziazi are indeed unusual. While Wuchenzi was surprised, he also didn't forget to flatter me. It's hard to imagine that I just changed my identity and these guys respected me. If they knew that I was Lu Su, I don't know what they would think. I don't want to stay here too long. Since these wasted things don't bother me, I should head to the second floor as soon as possible. I walked towards the second floor. Seeing this, Wuchenzi stopped hiding his strength. He used Taoist magic to eliminate all the waste on the entire floor, and then followed. Arriving on the second floor, the dark green will-o'-the-wisp disappeared and was replaced by bloody red. Through these bloody red lights, I could clearly see the layout of the entire second floor. The entire second floor was hollowed out, and everywhere you looked, there was blood and water. A suspension bridge stood quietly above the blood. If you want to go to the third floor, you must pass through the sea of blood in front of you. And the only way to reach the other side is to walk across the suspension bridge. But the suspension bridge looked in a state of disrepair, raising concerns about whether it would be possible to cross successfully. However, there is no other good way now. I stepped forward and walked towards the suspension bridge. As soon as I stepped on the suspension bridge, I suddenly saw something emerging from the churning blood in the corner of my eye. I stopped and took a closer look. I saw a topless woman emerging from the bloody water and stealing away. The woman is very beautiful, with fair skin, delicate appearance and a seductive look between her eyebrows. Although this woman is very beautiful, even an ordinary person can tell at a glance that she is a ghost. At this time, the blood boiled again, and several more heads emerged. Looking closely, there were several more female ghosts. These female ghosts opened their beautiful eyes and stared at us closely. In their eyes, I saw a look of viciousness and resentment. Wuchenzi looked at the female ghost for a long time, then took a breath and said fearfully, "This is a turtle ghost." When I heard the words turtle ghost, my body trembled. According to legend, the turtle ghost is a very ferocious ghost. Most of them are women. Their upper body is a human and the lower body is a turtle. They are charming in appearance and have the ability to seduce people. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Sky Coffin. Author, Qingnian Wanbao. Chapter 733. I have crepe myrtle true energy to protect my body, and ordinary evil spirits don't dare to get close to me. But I don't know how to activate the crepe myrtle essence in my body. I pretended I didn't see this group of turtle ghosts and walked straight towards the other side of the bridge. The wooden suspension bridge has been in disrepair for a long time, and it wobbles when walking on it, making people wonder if it will really break. When I reached the middle of the suspension bridge, the blood under my body was churning crazily. The turtle ghost in the bloody water jumped onto the suspension bridge, blocking my way forward. When I saw clearly the lower body of the turtle ghost, my pupils trembled violently. This turtle ghost is exactly the same as the one in the legend. It turns out to be really a human head and a turtle body. There were 4 turtles lying on the ground, with a huge turtle shell on top. The position where the turtle's head should have been extended has now been replaced by a woman's upper body, which looks very strange. Jajaja. The corners of Turtle Ghost's mouth raised and he smiled sinisterly. The laughter spread into my ears like a magic spell and lingered in my heart for a long time. I felt dizzy and almost fainted. I bit the tip of my tongue and the dizziness disappeared. When I looked at the turtle ghost in front of me, I was surprised to find that the turtle ghost's body had disappeared, but was replaced by two long, fair, and slender turtles. Long legs. The woman in front of me has a hot figure and fair skin. She doesn't have a fig leaf on her body, which makes me feel hot all over. The woman stretched out her slender hand and hooked her fingers at me, with a charming look and enchanting movements. I walked towards her step by step as if I was possessed. When I walked up to the woman, she stretched out her hand and gently touched my chest, and whispered in my ear, "Don't worry, I'll make you feel comfortable later." I grabbed the woman's neck, looked at her coldly, and said, "Do you think such a clumsy trick can deal with me?" Turtle Ghost's charm is really powerful. I almost fell into her trap just now. Fortunately, I woke up in time. The turtle ghost showed a sinister look on his face, and he suddenly stretched out his claws and stabbed me in the chest. I condensed my expression, activated my soul-stealing blood hand, pinched Turtle Ghost's right hand and plunged it directly into her body. I exerted force violently, and the soul in Turtle Ghost's body was crushed by me. The soul-stealing blood hand can directly damage the soul. Now my strength has made a qualitative leap compared to before. In addition, the Turtle Ghost's moral skills are not too high, so it can be easily subdued. And I don't worry about exposing my identity when I use the soul-stealing blood hand. Because Wachenza can't see it from my angle. After killing one turtle ghost, other turtle ghosts attacked in groups and surrounded me. Wachenza and others also woke up from the charm, and used their methods to tremble with these turtle ghosts. The suspension bridge, which was not strong to begin with, was shaky due to our movements. I stepped forward, freed my hands to deal with the turtle ghost, and ran towards the end of the suspension bridge. Fortunately, when I reached the other end of the suspension bridge was not broken. I turned around and looked at Wachenza and others who were locked in a hard fight. Wachenza was able to deal with it calmly, but others seemed to have some difficulties. Just when the suspension bridge was about to break, Wachenza jumped to my side, while several other members of the Taoist sect fell directly into the bloody water. The blood was like concentrated sulfuric acid, corroding their bodies. Ah! In an instant, the sound of wailing resounded. One of them begged Wachenza, "Elder! Save us! Please! Save us!" Sky Coffin. Author, Qing Nian Wanbao. Chapter 734. Wachenza looked coldly at his fellow student who fell into the blood. "I told you before I came here that this trip is extremely dangerous. You are not good at cultivation. If your life is in danger, you will bring it on yourself and seek your own death." The faces of those people in the bloody water turned pale after hearing this. They pinned their last hope on me. "Senior! Please save us." The cry for help was heartbreaking. I also feel powerless to deal with their current situation. Because I don't know what method to use to save these people. If I use the Nine Eyes Heaven realm, my identity will definitely be discovered by Wachenza. Moreover, it would be impossible for them to survive even if they were rescued. In just a few seconds, their bodies were completely corroded. Just when I was hesitating, their wailing sounds gradually dissipated in my ears, and when I looked into the blood, I could no longer see those people. Presumably even their bones were corroded by the blood and water. "Senior, let's go," Wachenza said to me. I glanced at him lightly and walked toward the third floor. Compared to the bloody second floor, the third floor is a bit more quiet, with only 7 sword pillars standing everywhere. Just when we were about to go to the fourth floor, a man's voice suddenly sounded in our ears. "Stop here, or else you will fall into hell forever and never be reincarnated." The sound was powerful, as shocking as the roar of a dragon or a lion. I was shocked. The owner of this voice must be very powerful. If I guessed correctly, it should be the Ghost King in the Ghost Suppression Tower. Just listening to the sound can make people feel cold and shudder. Wuchenzi looked around and shouted, "I am Wuchenzi, the elder of the Taoist sect. Who is pretending to be a ghost here? Why don't you show up quickly?" The corner of my mouth twitched slightly. This Wuchenzi is really stubborn. As soon as Wuchenzi finished speaking, a gust of dark wind hit him and knocked him away. Boom! Wuchenzi hit the wall hard, a mouthful of blood spurted out, and the whole person was in a miserable state. I was secretly shocked that the Ghost King in this ghost-suppressing tower was so terrifying. Not seeing him, just hearing his voice, makes people more stressed. Wuchenzi struggled to stand up, staggered to my side, and said, "Senior, I hope you can help me. Get the Sun and Moon Pearl. As long as I can get the Sun and Moon Pearl, I, Wuchenzi, will definitely be grateful. I don't know why the Taoist clan wants the Sun and Moon Pearl so much. Could it be that Daemon is planning some conspiracy secretly?" Thinking of this, I said to the people around me, "If you are really brave, come out and fight me. If you want to get the Sun and Moon Pearl, you must face such a powerful Ghost King. There's going to be a battle sooner or later anyway, so it's better to solve it now." At this moment, a strong wind suddenly hit me. My face condensed, I released the momentum around me, stretched out my left hand, and activated the Pure Lotus Seal. The pale white light formed a shield in front of me, and the strong wind hit it, but it did not turn into many white lotuses. This means that the Ghost King in the dark is stronger than me. Just when the Pure Lotus Seal could no longer hold on, Yanfeng suddenly disappeared out of thin air. This made me stunned for a moment, and then I heard the Ghost King's voice ringing around me. "Come up and talk to me." Want me to go up and talk to him? Why doesn't he want to fight with me? After thinking about it, I couldn't think of a reason, so I just went up to take a look. Sky Coffin. Author, Qing Nian Wanbao. Chapter 735. I walked towards the fourth floor of the Demon Suppression Tower. Wuchenzi followed closely behind. But as soon as he took a step, he was knocked out again by a strong wind. The Ghost King's voice came again. "If you take one step forward, I will kill you without a burial place." Wuchenzi struggled to stand up and looked at the stairs with a gloomy expression. I walked straight towards the fourth floor. Starting from the fourth floor, there were more and more evil ghosts, but these evil ghosts did not attack me. Soon, I reached the top. I can't see my fingers here, and the inky blackness makes me feel chilly. "I am coming," I shouted. As soon as he finished speaking, bunches of dark blue will-o'-the-wisps lit up in the darkness. A stone seat appeared in front of me, with a figure sitting on it. Because the dark blue light couldn't shine there, I couldn't see the whole thing clearly. "I can't believe you actually made it this far." The Ghost King's voice sounded again. I'm used to these incomprehensible comments. The mystery surrounding me still needs to be solved step by step by myself. "Since I'm here, why don't you come out and meet me?" I said. The next moment, I saw the figure slowly stand up, and then, the dull sound of footsteps sounded in my ears. The true appearance of the Ghost King slowly came into view. When the Ghost King walked out of the darkness, I was stunned on the spot. His body is tall and slender, with broad and round shoulders, and a tall chest. His whole body is as strong as a steel pile, and he has a faint air of a king. And, he has no brain. His breasts serve as eyes, and his navel serves as his mouth. This image reminds me of a mythical character, Xin Tian. Of course, there are other headless ghosts in this world. But rarely does this image appear before you. Could it be that he is really the god of war Xin Tian? Xin Tian was originally an unknown giant. In the battle with Huangdi, his head was chopped off by Huangdi, so he was called Xin Tian. Moreover, he is also a demon. But what puzzles me is, If the headless ghost in front of me is really Xin Tian, then why is he still lingering in the world? Not a god. Just when I was surprised, the headless ghost spoke. I've already shown up, why are you still wearing a hat? I quickly took off the bamboo hat. When the headless ghost saw me, his pupils trembled slightly, and then he let out a long sigh and said, I originally thought that you had failed and there would be no trace of you in this world, but I didn't expect that I could still see you. You are really surprising. I asked, do you know me? The headless ghost hummed and continued, it seems that you don't know anything yet. Let me introduce myself. I am the god of war Xin Tian. As soon as these words came out, I was stunned on the spot. It turned out to be the god of war Xin Tian. But why was he suppressed in the ghost suppression tower? I hesitated for a moment and asked the doubts in my heart. You say you are the god of war Xin Tian, but why are you hanging around in the world? Do you have any unfulfilled wishes? From what I can tell, Xin Tian has no ill intentions towards me, so of course I will take this opportunity to get closer to him. Xin Tian laughed and said, I am just a soul of the original body. Besides, in your heart, am I really comfortable with being promoted to immortality, or becoming a god? I answered without thinking, when a person attains the Dao, chickens and dogs ascend to heaven. Throughout the ages, I don't know how many people have sacrificed their lives for the purpose of ascension. I believe that those who can attain the Dao are favored by God. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Sky Coffin. Author, Qingnian Wanbao. Chapter 736. After hearing my words, Xin Tian laughed again. Ha ha ha. You really don't know anything now. Xin Tian came to me and said slowly, why do some people would rather die than be on the list of gods? Have you ever considered this reason? I was slightly stunned. Xin Tian was right. After the battle of the conferred gods, some people refused to climb to the immortal platform even though they were on the list. I don't know the reason for this. I don't know, I hope you can tell me. Xin Tian looked at me and said, after becoming a god, you have no freedom. With your soul being limited and having to obey the orders of others forever and ever, do you still feel that it is a glorious thing to ascend to the Tao in this situation? I looked at Xin Tian blankly, his words made perfect sense. Although people who become gods gain eternal life, in the final analysis, their lives are still in the hands of others. It is sad to think about having your soul imprisoned and losing your freedom. Then why are you still lingering here? Xin Tian replied, I was born in ancient times, and I was defeated miserably in the battle with the emperor. Although I also had the status of god after death, my soul was still imprisoned. I was unwilling to obey the orders of those people. A wisp of my soul went down to the world and lived forever. Hidden here. In this way, I can keep my piece of pure land, and feel comfortable. I don't know who those people Xin Tian mentioned are, anyway, I feel very far away from me. But what I never expected was that in the near future, I would have continuous karma with those people. Tell me, why are you here? Xin Tian has no ill intentions towards me, and it feels like a chat between old friends. I said, I am here for nothing else but to look for the sun and moon pearl. When Xin Tian heard my words, a strange look flashed in his eyes. He said, I can't give you the sun and moon pearl. The reason why those guys can't find me is because of the protection of the sun and moon pearl. If the sun and moon pearl is given to you, this ray of my soul will naturally return to the original body. I looked at Xin Tian, and an idea quietly emerged in my heart. Everyone in the world says that when Xin Tian dances with relatives, his fierce will always be there. And now you are huddled in the tower, are you willing? Xin Tian was stunned for a moment, then lowered his eyes and fell into deep thought. I continued, although I don't know what my previous relationship was with you, I know that everything I do now probably has a lot to do with you. Xing said 2 words when he saw me for the first time. The first sentence is, "I can't believe you actually made it this far." The second sentence, "I originally thought that you had failed and there would be no trace of you in this world." From these 2 sentences, I can infer that my previous life and Xing had the same purpose. Your soul will most likely return to its true form after it leaves the soul resurrection tower, but I am still here, and I will continue on. I believe that in the near future, my life experience and your purpose will be revealed and completed. My life experience is too complicated. I still don't understand what's going on. The Qin dynasty, the Han dynasty, and modern times all have my past lives. And whose reincarnation am I? Or maybe they are all me. These mysteries can only be solved slowly in the future. Xing looked at me blankly, and then laughed. Hearty laughter filled the whole world. Okay. Okay. It seems that you are sure of winning this time. Anyway, I will go out with you to help you. Sky Coffin. Author, Qing Nian Wanbao. Chapter 737. Xing raised his chest and looked above the demon suppression tower. The reason why the soul suppressing tower can suppress souls is because of the sun and moon beads. Now that I remove the sun and moon beads, all the ghosts in the ghost suppressing tower will go berserk. After hearing this, I nodded and said, "It's okay, I've been prepared in advance." When I entered the ghost suppressing tower before, I redeployed the 4-sided ghost array. Even if the ghost suppressing tower loses its function, the ghosts cannot escape. When I leave here later, if those evil ghosts want to be reincarnated, I will help them. If they don't want to be destroyed directly, I will help them. Xing stretched out his hand to take off the sun and moon pearl. I suddenly remembered something and quickly stopped him. "If you take off the sun and moon pearl, will you return to your true body immediately?" Xing was stunned and said, "Yes, once I am no longer protected by the sun and moon pearl, I will be noticed by those people, and then my soul will return to the original body." I thought for a moment and asked, "Is there any way to cover you up again?" In fact, I asked these questions out of selfish motives. Although Xing is just a ray of soul now, it would be great if he could stay with me and help me at critical moments. Xing looked at me and said, "Your luck can cover up my aura, but only if you find a carrier that can accommodate me. A carrier that can accommodate Xingtian's soul." I took out the soul locking tower from my pocket and asked, "Is this okay?" Xing looked at the soul locking tower in my hand and said, "Okay." Then, Xing reached out and took off the sun and moon beads from the top of the tower. The moment the sun and moon pearl fell, the entire ghost suppression tower shook violently, and the sound of ghosts crying and wolf howling resounded throughout the world. Xing handed me the sun and moon pearl and said, "I will stay by your side and will only help you when you need my help, and I can only do it once. Because once my breath is leaked, my soul will return to the original body." I nodded and said, "Okay, I understand." Xing figure flashed and turned into a white light that penetrated into the soul locking tower. I quickly covered the soul locking tower with the energy of Zaiwei. Then, I looked into the soul locking tower and saw that the green ghost that I had previously sealed in the soul locking tower was hiding not far away like a mouse seeing a cat after seeing Xing. Seeing this scene, I couldn't help but shake my head and smile bitterly. This Ching ghost was so powerful that I couldn't completely defeat it. Now that I saw Xing, he would be so honest. It seems that Xingtian's strength is beyond my imagination. I put the soul locking tower and the sun and moon pearl into my pocket, put on my bamboo hat, and walked towards the bottom of the tower. No sign of Li Gui was found along the way. Presumably, they had already escaped. However, what surprised me was that Wuchenzi didn't know where he went. When I walked out of the ghost suppression tower, I was completely stunned by the scene in front of me. Countless evil spirits were seen wandering around the Four Directions ghost array, and some powerful evil spirits even attacked the Four Directions ghost array. But no matter what methods they used, they could not break the ghost formation in all directions. The Four Directions ghost array I used was not as powerful as the one my grandpa used. The reason why these evil ghosts cannot break through is because of the blessing of Ziwei's energy. At this moment, those evil spirits discovered me, and they rushed towards me with vicious looks on their faces. I condensed my expression, summoned the heart sword, pinched the Thunderdew, and looked at these guys coldly. If you dare to take a step forward, the consequences will definitely be that your souls will be destroyed. Sky Coffin. Author, Qing Nian Wanbao. Chapter 738. If I can awaken the good thoughts in the hearts of these fierce ghosts and send them to reincarnation, this will be a good thing for me. These fierce ghosts looked at the Thunderdew in my hand, and they were obviously afraid. They subconsciously took a step back, but then they seemed to think of something. The next second, they looked fierce and rushed towards me. In an instant, a tidal wave of ghosts came to me with a suffocating yin energy. I swung my sword down without any hesitation. The thunder from the sky also fell in response, and the thunder resounded throughout the sky and the earth. Thunder suddenly appeared in front of my eyes. When the lightning dissipated, most of the ghosts were beaten to pieces by me. However, even if most of them are eliminated, there are still a lot of ghosts left. When they saw that their compatriots were in disarray, there was no trace of fear in their eyes, and they still rushed towards me with their teeth and claws bared. I summoned the ghost sea, and the inky darkness formed a vast sea behind me, with waves rising 7 or 8 meters high. I waved my hand casually, and the sea of ghosts instantly submerged these fierce ghosts. Yin soldiers emerged from the sea of ghosts and started fighting with them. In less than a minute, all the evil ghosts were killed by the Yin soldiers, and their Yin energy was absorbed by the sea of ghosts. However, this time there was no change at all in the netherworld ghost sea, and there were no more Yin soldiers. Isn't the Yin Qi enough? I shook my head helplessly and walked down the mountain. At this moment, Xiao He flew toward me from a branch on one side, and then landed on my shoulder. Its eyes shone brightly and asked, "Boss. Boss. How are you doing? Have you got it?" I nodded and said, "Fetched it?" Xiao He burst out laughing. "I never thought that you, Mr. Bird, and I would have the opportunity to transform. After transforming, I will be suave, handsome, and unrestrained. When will I go and talk to the female crow who once rejected me?" I rolled my eyes and said, "How do you know you will be handsome after you transform? Maybe you are a foot-picking guy." Xiao He was stunned and said disdainfully, "I'll be more handsome than you then. I'll make you feel ashamed. This damn crow's mouth is really mean." At this moment, Xiao He's tone suddenly became serious. "Boss, that dead old man has been secretly observing you just now." I frowned. The dead old man Xiao He mentioned must be Wu Chenzi. Unexpectedly, he did not leave, but observed me in the dark. But it doesn't matter anymore, my goal has been achieved. Even if my identity is exposed, it won't be a big deal. I walked towards the bottom of the mountain, but when I just reached the foot of the mountain, I saw a figure blocking the mountain road. With just one glance, I recognized who was blocking the road. Wu Chenzi. It seems that he wants to snatch the Sun and Moon Pearl. Senior. It's great that you came out alive. Wu Chenzi quickly came to me and looked at me with a flattering face. I snorted in my heart, after all this, Wu Chenzi is still pretending. Senior, I wonder if you can get the Sun and Moon Pearl. I looked at Wu Chenzi and said, "Here it is." Wu Chenzi looked happy, but I saw a ruthless look in his eyes. Senior, if you give me the Sun and Moon Pearl, I will definitely thank you very much. Wu Chenzi, this old thief, is really insidious and cunning. He wanted me to let down my guard, take out the Sun and Moon Pearl, and then fall out with me. But what he didn't know was that Xiao He had already told me about his secret peeping at me. How could I let his scheme succeed? You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Sky Coffin. Author, Qingnian Wanbao. Chapter 739. Since I promised you before, this sun and moon pearl is yours. Saying that, I pretended to take the sun and moon beads. Wachen's face was filled with joy, and just when he relaxed his guard, I suddenly summoned the heart sword and stabbed him in the chest. Wuchenzi was unable to prevent himself and was directly pierced through the chest by the heart sword. He looked at me in disbelief. You, what are you doing? I slowly took off my bamboo hat, looked at Wachenzi coldly and said, up to now, do you still think that I am that ignorant boy? Wachenzi's face froze, and then his eyes turned fierce. He broke away from the heart sword and clutched his chest. Lusu. Lusu. I didn't expect you to be so scheming. But, do you think I'm not prepared for anything? Wachenzi kneaded the secret with both hands, and then the surrounding golden light flourished, and a magic circle enveloped me. If I kill you, I can get the sun and moon pearl. The sword just now pierced Wachenzi's heart. It stands to reason that if an ordinary person is stabbed through the heart, he will definitely die on the spot. But Wachenzi is different, he is a Taoist. He could still do it despite the desperate struggle. I looked at the magic circle in front of me, slowly stretched out my left hand, and activated the pure lotus mark on my palm. The magic circle instantly collapsed and turned into many white lotuses floating in the air. When Wachenzi saw this scene, his eyes showed unwillingness. He gritted his teeth and said, unexpectedly, I, Wachenzi, have spent my whole life, and today I was tricked by your kid. I raised my heart sword and approached Wachenzi step by step. Wachenzi stepped back, took out a talisman from his pocket, pinched it with his middle and index fingers, and then muttered something. When I saw the talisman, my expression froze. It turned out to be a sound transmission talisman. The sound transmission talisman can keep what one wants to say in the talisman, and then burn it to transmit the words retained in the talisman to the ears of the person you want to convey. This kind of talisman is very rare. Without any hesitation, I raised my heart sword and swung it towards Wachenzi's neck. Just hear a puff. A sword seals the throat. Wachenzi fell down immediately, but the talisman in his hand actually burned. I wanted to stop it, but it was too late. The sound transmission talisman was burned clean. I frowned. I know what Wachenzi is saying without even thinking about it. It's just that I killed him, and the sun, moon, and pearls are in his hands. And the person who sent the message must be the head of the Taoist sect. I sighed slightly, forget it, just know it. Anyway, sooner or later I have to fight that sick old man. The head of the Taoist sect obviously has an ulterior grudge against my grandfather. As my grandfather's grandson, I am naturally the target of his revenge. Thinking of this, I summoned the karma fire and burned Wachenzi's body clean. Xiao He landed on my shoulder and said, Lusu, why didn't you see before that your methods are so cruel? I glanced at it and said calmly, if I don't kill him, he will kill me. Furthermore, this world is inherently dominated by the weak and the strong. Everything I do is for myself. Xiao He nodded and said, it seems that I am going to become stronger too. There will definitely be dangers when I stay by your side. I looked at Xiao He with a smile and said, I didn't expect you to have such an awareness. Xiao He replied proudly, that's natural, but, take out the sun and moon pearl and let Master Bird enjoy it first. I rolled my eyes and said, how could this bitch be so determined? It turned out that he was planning on sun moon pearl. Sky Coffin. Author, Qingnian Wanbao. Chapter 740. After returning to Zhou's house, I took off my black robe and took out the sun and moon beads. Just because I was anxious, I didn't take a closer look in the ghost-suppressing tower. Now when I look at it, I realize how amazing the sun and moon pearl is. The sun and moon pearl is completely transparent, half of it is warm white and the other half is dark black. Moreover, these two colors are in the shape of a yin and yang diagram. Except for eating, whether they are black or white, they are very transparent and beautiful. Xiao He laughed innocently on the side. Boss, you're not in a hurry to use these sun and moon beads now. Just lend them to me for a few days. Looking at Xiao He's longing eyes, I said, you have to keep it safe. If you damage the sun and moon pearl, I will have to stew you. Xiao He said quickly, boss. Don't worry. Even if I die, I won't let anything happen to sun moon pearl. I nodded and placed the sun and moon beads in front of Xiao He. Just when Xiao He stretched out his wings to take the sun and moon pearl into his arms, a chubby little hand stretched out silently and snatched away the sun and moon pearl. Is this the sun and moon pearl? It's so beautiful. Cai Dai didn't know when she would come out, so she took the sun and moon pearl in her hand and looked at it carefully. This made Xiao He so angry that he rushed towards Cai Dai with his teeth and claws, but another Cai Dai choked him. Give it back to me. Give it back to me. You little devil. Little devil? This title fits Cai Dai. Although Cai Dai looks very cute and well behaved, she actually has the most clever ideas. Cai Dai glared at it fiercely and said, what did you call me? Xiao He quickly changed his words, beauty, little beauty. Watching the two guys bickering, I couldn't help but shake my head and smile bitterly. This is really one thing that reduces one thing. Xiao He's mouth is very short. On weekdays, his mouth is like a machine gun and he talks non-stop. But as long as Cai Dai was by his side, he would turn off the flames. Give it back to you. Cheapskate. Saying that, Cai Dai placed the sun and moon beads on the bed, and then Xiao He seemed to be possessed, crazily sucking in the essence of the sun and moon. The way Xiao He looks now reminds me of a cat sucking catnip. It gives me the feeling that it is like an addict. Cai Dai looked at me, stretched out her hand, and said, where's mine? I was slightly stunned and asked, what is yours? Kadi put her hands on her hips and pointed at me like a little shrew. You gave it such a nice thing. Don't I have a share in it? The corner of my mouth twitched slightly, this little guy must be too jealous. I said, you won't need the sun and moon bead either. I'll find one suitable for you in the future. Kaidi curled her lips and said, don't worry about it anymore, come find me after you finish handling the matter. What are you looking for? Cai Dai replied, there is a sacred object in Miao territory called the 5 poison pearls. That thing can greatly increase my cultivation. Miao territory. I seem to have thought of something. There is a place of the 4 evils on the Miao border. I just happened to go to deal with the 4 evils and retrieve the 5 poison pearls. There is one more thing that concerns me. That is Mr. Ghost. Master Gui has been missing for such a long time without any news. If I guessed correctly, he should have returned to Miao territory. You know, he is also the descendant of Cheng Huang, and according to my speculation, his lineage seems to have suffered some disaster. No matter what, I must go back to Miaozhong again. Because Master Gui saved my life, I also promised him that if he is in trouble, I will definitely help him with all my strength.